This is the Razer Viper V3 Hyperspeed. I think it may be one of the most interesting releases this year, as it has premium specs but comes in at a budget price of $70, which just may remove most of the competition off the board, as they have departed from the old shape, which is exciting as Razer shapes have never been stellar, and I think this one is definitely a banger. Let's get nerdy. Like the Logitech G Pro Wireless, they worked with the pros to enhance the shape. The shape is very similar to the Logitech G Pro X Superlight, as it has a similar middle bump that doesn't go quite as high and with a slightly quicker taper off the back, and indents a bit more on the side, having a bit more overall shape than the potato of the G Pro X. Along with being a bit longer, compared to the OG Viper, it feels like a completely different mouse. The mid hump is significantly higher, as a main complaint of the old Viper was how flat it was. It tapers faster, giving it a better feel when bumping to the back of your palm while giving good support. The side V is a lot less pronounced. It's like a symmetrical DeathAdder V3. Overall, I am a big fan of this shape and will be curious to see what others' opinions are. I see this as a win, kind of like the difference between the Razer DeathAdder V2 Pro and the Razer DeathAdder V3 Pro. But it is still built for fingertip/claw over palm. This is my favorite shape of any Razer mouse I've tried. I'm going to try my best to avoid the very deep rabbit hole of sensor positions. We'll be speaking in generalities, if independent on your grip style, and that this will be one of the two most polarizing things about this mouse. But to the meat and potatoes, most mice have a centered sensor position. This one has a front-facing one. The idea behind that is it's supposed to improve aim by first, giving you more range of motion and straighter x-axis tracking ability. Your wrist tends to have around 19 degrees of radial deviation and 33 degrees of ulnar deviation. If you have a lower or more centered sensor position, you'll have close to that amount of rotation with your mouse. However, a front-facing sensor, since it is closer to the middle of your fingertips over your knuckles, you can add a few extra degrees, giving you more control before having to lift your mouse. Additionally, this should be less fatiguing as you aren't hitting the extremes of motion as often, and allegedly is supposed to give a straighter line when tracking. Personally, I found that my tracking was improved, but found my flicks and micro adjustments felt off for some reason. I think if you're a fingertip aimer with some wrist, you'll appreciate this. If you're a wrist/arm aimer, you likely won't feel a difference. Second, it sorta kinda but not really has better lift-off distance, as if you lift up the mouse while keeping the front skates more downward, it can continue to track longer, along with tracking sooner once you fully pick it up, causing less mouse cursor error, which leads to more consistent aim. I found this to be a mixed bag, as I think this has more to do with how you lift your mouse. As for myself, I'm very centered, perhaps from using mice with a center position for so long that this wasn't noticeable to me. Third, your fingertips have a lot more finite control than your wrist or arm does. This allows for a more accurate flicks, micro adjustments, and overall control of your mouse. I use my arm for large flicks/tracking, my wrist for medium flicks and most tracking, and my fingertips for micro/small flicks and quick tracking. Personally, I felt I had less control, specifically felt like my tracking and quick movements were great, but the last 2% of my aim to lock in those headshots or similar were difficult and like I needed to fight the mouse to get there. But this could be due to the external battery as well. It will be interesting to see if I find the same results whenever the Viper V3 Pro releases. Speaking of the battery, I think this is going to be the second most polarizing aspect. I find that the weight balance is surprisingly good, but not nearly as good as those with a built-in rechargeable one, which makes a big difference on how a mouse feels. For example, if I move the mouse left to right, it feels like I'm getting some inertia at the end, which could be the thing throwing off my aim more than the sensor position, as I know that the sensor itself, the Focus Pro, is the best in the business and isn't affecting my aim. Think of it as when you have a heavy backpack on and you're running and then you stop, the backpack wants to keep moving, so it kind of pushes you forward another step. This also dramatically affects the weight. The mouse itself is 59 grams. With the included AA battery, it is 82 grams. With a regular AAA battery with the adapter, it is 73 grams. And with what I did all my testing on, a lightweight lithium-ion AAA battery with the adapter is 70 grams. How long the battery lasts will be dependent on the battery type you choose. They report 280 hours of constant motion with the included AA battery. Personally, I'm not a fan of external batteries and is the thing I dislike the most about this mount. The next feature that has been upgraded is the coating. If you've ever tried the Logitech G Pro X Superlight, it is extremely similar, where it feels like a grippy matte rubber over the previous PBT plastic feeling. For some people, this increases grip. Others, it makes it more slippery. Personally, I find it's best if your hand is a bit moist, which is a gross word, as it seems to grip ultra well under that condition. Personally, I like it a lot, but it does pick up smudges like a boss. The biggest con that I ran into is that it does have a lopsided bottom, which is completely unacceptable, making it like an annoying rickety chair when using it on a hard surface, which I use all the time at work, but unnoticeable on a normal regular mouse pad. But the PTFE feet are the same that you find on all of their other mice, which is excellent. I don't see a reason to upgrade them with third-party skates. Getting the door off the bottom of the mouse can be difficult, especially if you don't have nails. The on-off switch requires a nail to move and isn't as premium as Logitech's. DPI button has moved from the bottom of the mouse to the top between mouse 1 and 2, which I think a lot of people will enjoy, and it has fully remappable buttons via Razer Synapse. I found Synapse works a lot better than it used to, but still gives me some hiccups occasionally. Personally, I don't mind it, but I know that plenty still hate it. The side buttons are premium, they feel fantastic, and they've added a bit of space to easier differentiate them. Mild pre/post travel with a satisfying in click. Yes, it has the best sensor on the market. The Focus Pro sensor feels like an extension of your arm. Feels noticeably better than anything else on the market. I absolutely love it. I destroy noobs with shroud-like precision. It has 26 levels of height adjustment. You can buy the Razer Hyperspeed polling dongle separately for $30 or bundled together with the mouse for $85, which unlocks 4,000 Hz polling, which does make a difference despite what a lot of people say. This means that performance-wise, it is competing with a $150 mice or more for $80 less, with the only thing making it budget being that it uses an external battery. It isn't as well balanced because of that. It weighs slightly more and doesn't have optical switches, which is why I say this is the best bang for your buck mouse on the market, and I don't think anything can beat it from a price to performance ratio. If I'm wrong, I would love to hear your opinion in the comment section down below. It has Razer's Gen 2 mechanical switches. I just said mechanical, not optical. They feel great, aren't nearly as loud as their optical ones, aren't as crisp feeling, but still have a nice satisfying click with mild pre-travel with moderate/long post-travel. They are very easy to spam. I have absolutely no complaints, but can develop double clicks and won't be as fast as optical. I see nowhere in the software to be able to adjust debounce delay. The scroll wheel is an absolute dream, dancing the line between being very smooth while being very accurate for games such as switching weapons. Middle click is effortless with a satisfying bump. Going nerdy, it requires light/moderate force to move, dedicated steps with light pressure for middle click. It's not loud whatsoever and sounds the same going up as it does going down. Moving on to the conclusion, this is my new recommendation for 99% of people, as they nailed nearly every aspect of this mouse, which includes a great shape, size, primary clicks, side clicks, scroll wheel, PTFE feet, performance, battery life, coating, price, generalized feel, weight balance, 4,000 Hz capability, and customizability via the software. The front sensor position and external battery are the most polarizing points and will come down to personal preference. Having a lopsided base is completely unacceptable, and that happened on 2 of my copies. Bottom door could be easier to open. Coating picks up a lot of fingerprints, requires $30 extra for 4K polling. The on-off switch could be easier to turn on/off. However, if you're one of those individuals that likes to min-max everything that they do in life or don't enjoy the shape, size, or weight, then looking at the Viper V2 Pro, DeathAdder V3 Pro, or Cobra Pro would be advised, with the G Pro X Superlight 2 being an honorable mention. Personally, I don't feel like I can perform at the top of my ability due to the battery inertia, weight balancing, and perhaps front sensor position, but am very much looking forward to the not announced but likely coming in 1 to 2 years, the Viper V3 Pro. Moving on to a new section of my videos, the daily lesson. Joy is a state of being. You arrive at that state by being appreciative and thankful of what you have. Happiness, sadness, anger are all emotions that are fleeting. Remember, we always regress to the mean. The happy times and the sad times are limited, and given time, will disappear, which is why working to make your mean to be joyful is so critical, as it helps us whether we are going through a storm to have the tools to learn the lessons that God is trying to teach and better enjoy the good times, as we will be fully present during them, as we know they are limited. If you like this video, leave a like. If you dislike this video, leave a dislike, and of course subscribe for more. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this mouse in the comment section down below. Otherwise, I wish you the absolute best. God bless and peace out.